Okay, and now we play in Bagneux.
In Bagneux,
Bagneux.
it was, well, a small town near Paris, a suburb from Paris, let's say. Well, they organized in that time, they organized very nice tournaments, you see. They organized 2, 3 years like this. So I was able, finally to win both, in 82 and 83. And we had some very nice games with this grandmaster. He came from, I don't know, Lebanon or something, Kouatly. Later on, of course, he represented France at the Olympics and so. And finally, he was the president of the French Chess Federation later on, And in, this is a little bit strange that in both games, I mean, in 82 and in 83,
Yes.
he played the same line. I mean, the 4 pawns against the King's Indian, which is one of the most dangerous lines, against the King's Indian.
Yeah.
So this is the first game, this one, in 82, this one. The second, we showed already, a few months sooner like this,
Yes.
So, okay, after castle, knight f3, and from here it starts, c5, everything until now is theory, So d5, and here I played a6. This was recommended by the Soviet grandmasters. You wait a little bit, and in the same time, if white doesn't react very, very well, I mean the best. Like, see, if he plays, for instance, bishop d3 here. After bishop d3, you can push b5, and you come back in the Volga gambit, or the Bagneux gambit, which is playable for black and very complicated. It's okay for black. So white has to do something quickly. In our second game, he played e5, and it was very sharp, Here he played more positional, this move, normal move,
Yeah.
a4.
Maybe he played based on this experience.
No, this was the first line.
This was the first line,
Yeah,
the first game.
a4 is theory, a4.
Okay.
He stops this idea with b5, So, okay, now black plays e6, normal. And after e6, of course, white has to be quiet, here, in my opinion. Bishop e2 or bishop d3 has to wait, Gives you the move and you have to do something, Yeah. So if he plays, for instance, bishop e2, theory again, you take in d5, takes in d5, he has to take with c if you want something, yeah? And now the best move here is bishop g4. And after bishop g4, castle, knight bd7, very complicated. A lot of games. I won with black a lot of games. Between others, this very beautiful game against Grandmaster Gurevich in 81, when I was able to win the third time the US Open, So it's a decisive game. But analysis, very complicated and so on. All right. But here he has the possibility to play something else. And okay, novelty. He took in e6. And now, surprisingly enough, the theory said that the best move is to play bishop takes e6, knight e6, and so on. But then white more or less has something with the idea later on to play in some positions f5. Bishop d3 with the idea f5, and it's very complicated. So okay, after f takes e6, it seems that white has a small edge by playing e5 immediately. But that would be bad for white finally, Move by move, very nice. So now I took in e5, he took, I took, and now he took with the knight. Well, he hopes to come very quickly here with bishop e3, bishop e2, bishop f3. This is the idea for white, But he has no time because everything is forced. Knight f d7. Now he has to take a decision. The knight from e5 is attacked twice, so he has to retreat the knight or take in d7, So, okay, he took in d7, and now the second small surprise, I took with the bishop. Now, starting from here, the plan for black is very simple, but very efficient. For instance, you have the idea to play bishop c6 later on, give the bishop in some positions and play with a strong knight later on, we see, against the bad bishop from white, you see. So, okay, move by move, the two plans are very, very nice. So bishop e3, normal. And after bishop e3, best move, bishop d4. Now, again, he has to take a decision. What to do? He has to take in d4. I took back and knight e4. And after knight e4, bishop c6, as I told you. Bishop, this is the idea, bishop c6. Now bishop d3, normal, you know. And now, very important, you fix the position on the black squares, you see, by playing a5. Now the idea is very clear. You want to put the knight in c5 later. I mean, to come knight d7, take in e4, and play the knight from d7 to c5. The knight from c5 stays there forever. This is the difference, the big difference. The white bishop has to retreat somewhere, and then you have initiative, the free pawn from d4, and the fantastic knight in c5. You win every endgame if you arrive in endgame. See? So we can say that black won the first struggle, you know, in this game. You see, well, he tries to have something, you know, a small chance on the king side by playing h4. So knight d7, all right, h5. It's move by move, you see. And now bishop takes, bishop takes, knight c5, exactly in time. So now bishop back, of course. Now what can he do? Because if he played bishop f3, he could even lose the pawn. I mean, knight d3 check and knight takes f4. For the moment, black has pawn up and completely winning the game, you see.
Yes.
And, all right, bishop b1, and now, again, very strong move, d3. Now, you look, the bishop from b1 doesn't play at all. It's like a pawn in this position. Black has the free pawn in d3 already, very dangerous. The d file, you know, you put the rook, for instance, in d4, is a fantastic place, you know.
Yeah.
And then you win every endgame, but not only the middle game. White is in big trouble here. Probably it's decisive advantage for black, you see.
Yeah.
All right, rook a3, the only counter player. Now after rook d4, I think he could resign here, in my opinion. But of course, the rest of the game is also very interesting. He tried to have something. He tried to fight until the end, but it's too late here. Black has completely winning game here. And now you have to demonstrate. So he took, I took, and here king d2, of course. All right, now rook d8, look at this. Completely winning for black. Now you threaten the pawn from c4, the pawn from f4, the pawn from d3 is also very big advantage, you know, and the knight from c5, you know, dominates everything, you know, central squares and so on. You have decisive edge on the black squares, you know. And the bishop from b1 continues to be like a pawn, you know, for the moment. So, right, rook e1, first pawn, bishop takes, but now we come to a winning endgame in every position. So, by force, rook g4, he loses at least the pawn from g2, if not more, you know. If he is not careful, he loses more than one pawn, you know. So
But wasn't better to pick up this one?
yeah, of course, yeah, but this is even better, you know, because protects also the pawn from g6, you know, later on. For the moment, he can't take, of course, but all right. So king e2, what could he do? The only move. And now rook g3, okay, very unpleasant move again, because now you are forced to retreat the bishop, and everything comes with tempo, you know. So what to do? Bishop b1. Now with tempo check, you know, he loses the other. I mean, rook d2. Is well known that the two rooks on the second is deadly, you know, in any position. Okay? You threaten the pawn from b2, but you have made threats here against the king, you know, is even more dangerous for white. So king f4, okay, then king f4, he wanted to save himself in some positions by coming maybe to e5, but it's nothing to do.
No time.
Yeah, so rook h3, well, the only counter. Now, again, made threats all over the board. You know, so e5, g5 checks, you know. One check probably is enough to give almost mate in every position, you know. So king e3. Now we took another pawn. and king d4, right? King d4 and b6. Now look at this. Black has 2 pawns up
Yeah.
and completely winning position. The
Yes.
position is very sad for white. Again, the bishop from b1 is doing nothing until the end. You see, everything is protected. The pawns from g6 and d6 are on white, but they can't be attacked. You see. So, right, he continues to play a little bit, check. And rook h8. So rook b2, rook h1, rook g2. I mean, again, he continued because it was time trouble. He could,
Hope for
give
something.
up before that. Rook f3, check. What did he play? And now with check, I took another pawn in a4, I think. No, yeah. So 3 pawns up for now for black.
And resigned.
Yeah, and here he resigned. Well, the game is most interesting because of this line in the opening. Afterwards, it was more or less clear. But this idea, to put the bishop
Yes.
d7, c6, take the knight, the central knight from e4,
And
which
the
was
knight
the
on
best
C-
piece from white.
Mhm.
Then have a fantastic knight in c5. That was strategy. Because of this strategy, afterwards, it was quite easy to win the game. But
Mhm.
you have to play both of them, strategy and tactics, Later on, it was tactics. It was not so difficult because you have such a fantastic position, very big edge for black. Every piece was better. The pawn from d3 was fantastic. The white king was weak, and so on.
The knight,
Yeah.
the rook,
Everything
the-
combined like this
Yes.
was, we had the result.
Nice,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Beautiful game.
Thank you, Mr. Gheorghiu.
Very important theoretical. For a long time, everybody was very happy to play this variation for black because of this game. They saw the game
To
and
give the
tried
bishop
to repeat.
and
To have the same. You see.
Mm.
And in those years, it was very popular, this line for black. Because black could demonstrate how to play a very very sharp line with very good chance to try to win. You see.
Mhm,
Against a
mhm.
strong player. I mean, he was a good grandmaster. Let's say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was really a strategical demonstration, this one, the game,
Mhm,
in
mhm.
itself, like this.
Thank you.
You are